Hey everyone, Kevin A. Creedon here, the man behind King Size Customs. How we all doing? So today we got a Truck and Talk video here. Today's topic is brought to you from our good friend Roger over at Go Rogers Customs. He hasn't made a video in a little while, but him and I talk fairly often on the telephone. So I'm going to actually throw a song in. This may take a little bit longer than usual. Your week's going bad. I hope the song brings you up. If you're having a bad day, just remember it's Thursday, so your week's almost over. Right here I'm actually pushing that drop axle up since this isn't a heavy load. Now the topic of today's video, and I do have a couple of other things to get to before we start seriously talking, but the topic of today's video is going to be how the load is. Now I know that's a weird statement, but basically since it's a flatbed load, I did a little bit of research based on Rogers saying here are a couple of ideas, maybe you should do a little bit of homework on. I thought that was really cool. I wish the idea had come to me, but you know, that happens sometimes with artists. We get inspiration from other places, and sometimes we just need a little help from our friends. So the first thing though I want to talk about is just a little heartwarming story I saw on Facebook, cruising through some of the groups that I cruise through. And one of them is DCP by First Gear. DCP stands for Diecast Promotions, which is a leader in diecast semi-trucks, and they just I believe they were just acquired not that long ago by another diecast manufacturer named First Gear. Now I have a Diecast Promotions semi in my collection. It is one of my favorites. It's a Kenworth K100, and the detail on it is amazing. I mean, even down to the little turn signals. Now, I'll probably, knowing me, I want to have a collection of semis, so I'll probably buy a couple more Kenworth K100s, maybe a Peterbilt 379/389, something like Lady Blue here, which I'm driving today. But furthermore, without further ado, going on to the story, I wanted to say, this was covered on ABC. I want to say it was like an ABC Evening News. So there's a young man who lives in Wisconsin on, I believe it was I-80. He has cerebral palsy and another disorder, which makes him unable to really move very well. He has limited mobility. This person is in a wheelchair. And one of the things he does is he goes outside on his porch, and he's literally like right off I-80 so cars can see him. I-80 is a heavily traveled highway in Wisconsin, so he would watch all the semi-trucks go by. And what he would do is he would pump his left arm, just hoping and waiting for truckers to pull the air horn for him. So one day he rolls outside in his wheelchair, does what he usually does, pumps his arm to get a trucker to blow an air horn for him. And his mom goes out to see him and notices that there is a bag that has been thrown over the fence. She opens the bag, she looks in it, there's a t-shirt, a hat, and a toy semi-truck. And just the generosity of some of the people that are out on the road will amaze you. But the story doesn't stop there. The mom sent out a message on her Facebook, put this on her wall saying, "It really makes my husband and I's day when somebody is nice enough to give my child a gift." You know, he just could not stop saying, wow. He enjoyed playing with his toy truck, and he wore the hat immediately after he got it out of the bag, which I thought was really cool. What makes the story even better is, on his birthday, over 1,000 trucks, semi-trucks, dump trucks, commercial trucks, pulled into a local parking lot, and he was allowed to ride in several of them, which I thought was really nice. So, just another little heartwarming story of the generosity of truck drivers. I know a lot of truck drivers get a lot of flack, and there's a lot of bad stories because you have a few bad apples. You know, it's a strange career. I admit, for me, it was a bit of a dream career, but now that I have a little bit more experience with driving a semi, and I've talked to a lot of people about driving commercial vehicles, commercial vehicle drivers themselves, it's not all it's cracked up to be. So you gotta really be dedicated to want to drive one of these. So today's topic is the load and securing it, pretty much, and what the D.O.T. requires you to do. So I looked up the regulations on the D.O.T. handbook. They actually have a nice PDF that's about 141 pages, and I believe that was just the section on loads. So since this is a flatbed, we have to be real careful about how our truck is loaded. I'm not sure if you saw when I was going to go get the trailer that it's either steel or cement. I believe it's concrete, to tell you the truth, but they're forms that are placed in between two little, not little, but two 2x4s. And if you saw, there's tie downs. They're the ropes that go through the pipes to actually keep the load secure. Now in this game, due to how programming, coding, you never quite notice that something like this would move back and forth. However, in the real world, loads like this are very, very dangerous and need to be strapped down so well that certain things do not occur. One of the things is that you have to have it so that the load does not move as you're going forward. So what I mean by that is, as the truck is accelerating, you cannot have the load move so far off the flatbed so that it actually weighs down the trailer in a certain spot. Because if it weighs down your trailer too much weight on the trailer will snap the trailer like it's a popsicle stick. And trailer manufacturers know that. So that's why you're getting, I swear every year you're getting stronger trailers so you can hold more of a load and have more supplies to deliver. So another thing is also your load has to be accurately weighed and accurately placed so that when you stop, like how I just did, you heard the air brakes kick in. As you stop, you do not want that load coming forward and hitting either the I call it the headboard of your trailer or the back of your truck cab. And also you don't want the load going left or right, because that could be an issue for oncoming traffic. Say if I make a turn too hard, I make a left turn too hard, the load's going to go right and fly right off my truck. If I make a right turn, the inverse. The load will go left and fly off my truck and then into another lane, which is never good. So the D.O.T. requires that you have your load properly secured. Another thing about tie downs that I did not realize is you have to have the appropriate weight. You have to have the appropriate tie down for the weight of your load, your freight, what you are carrying. You cannot tie in knots. You cannot tie your tie downs. They also recommend that every so often you buy new tie downs due to being used over time. Tie downs wear down. I've actually had experience where I went to go see what they use, kind of like the material. A lot of it is just it's steel cable in almost like a nylon fabric, almost like, think closer to a ratchet strap. Oh, I know you guys saw that there was a dead car on the side of the road. One of the big things is I like to try to move over a lot as much as possible. I know there's move over laws, so if you see a dead car on the road, you're supposed to move over. Honestly, I don't know what the exact specifically how far you're supposed to move over, but since I had a lot of room in the road, I thought moving over into the opposing lane would be a good idea, and being that I could see there was no traffic coming. So back to tie down straps. Imagine like a ratchet strap, but unlike your regular civilian ratchet strap, you have, I want to say almost, it just depends on the company and who's driving, but you have almost a daily use of those. So imagine using a ratchet strap or a bungee cord day in and day out for years. It's going to wear down pretty quickly, so that's why you always see, with a lot of companies, you see newer looking ratchet straps or tie downs. So the other thing here is what I just did there, kind of an illegal move. Hopefully nobody, including the D.O.T., gets on me for this, but we're not supposed to be able to do those moves. However, with me, I find it a little bit more difficult since the map is not a continuous map like the United States. This is a game, not really some real world applications do not apply to this game, because if I kept driving, the map's going to just stop and I'm going to hit an invisible wall. So that's why I turn around like that a lot, especially if I get lost. But in a real world application, I'm pretty sure you'd find a turning lane and you could actually turn the truck a little bit and get it so that you're coming around and you can go back to the route, to your designated route. One other thing I'm going to look into that'll probably be the topic of next week's video is speed limits for semis versus speed limits for cars. Roger brought up about how in my special transit video when I have a police escort, that's the video before this, there was no video last week due to the Thanksgiving holiday. Hopefully everybody had a happy and good holiday. I hope you didn't go home hungry. You know, I hope you were stuffed much like the turkey. But I wish, you know, I didn't get time, I didn't say it, but I wish you all a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. For those of you who celebrate, I realize that there are a lot of people who do not celebrate for religious reasons, who do not celebrate for political reasons. For me, honestly, this is my little Thanksgiving spiel. For me, we should never forget what happened. However, we should really focus on a bit of more, you know, for some people it's really one of the few times they see their family. You know, I understand a lot of us, or not a lot of us, but some of us have family that we just don't see eye to eye, or we just don't see due to travel restrictions, or, you know, the how far away we are from our family, or other various things. But you know, Thanksgiving, spend it with who you can. You know, humans are social animals. We're not supposed to be alone in seclusion. I understand that there are some people who do prefer to be alone, and I used to be one of those people, but every once in a while you need to get out and you need to talk to someone or see someone. So that's my little spiel about Thanksgiving. I hope everyone had a good one. I believe I was talking about speed limits for semi-trucks before I went into my little Thanksgiving wishings. Yeah, so what I want to look up was about speed limits. The special transport, that was really heavy on this truck, and that's why I couldn't go 70 miles an hour. And then B, I had a car that I was following. Now, Roger and I would like to know what do you do in a situation when you can't go the speed limit? Like a lot of these trucks that I have, they can't go up to about 70 miles per hour with a heavy load. You know, it's just weight and weight is Earth's gravitational pull, but due to weight and how heavy something is, I can't get a truck going 70 miles per hour if I'm hauling something pretty heavy. It's just not possible. I don't care how big of an engine you have, how much horsepower you have, how much torque. It's not going to happen. So what we want to know is, what are the appropriate measures to do? Now, I know just from experience just traveling into the foothills of Pennsylvania every once in a while. Recently, it's been once every month. If you're going up a hill with a truck and you start losing speed, you're supposed to put on your four-way flashers or your hazard lights, if you prefer that term. You're supposed to downshift and you try to get back up to speed, but you must keep people aware that you have a vehicle that's slowing down. The other thing is, you want to stay in the right lane, because that is the quote-unquote slow lane, the quote-unquote slow lane and the non-passing lane. Your left lane is mostly for passing, and I'm sure you guys noticed when I drive, I mostly stay in the right lane unless I'm passing. And I was actually just watching a video about this video with somebody ranting about the quote-unquote left lane bandits. I've seen that too. I live in an area where unfortunately there is an exit in the left lane, and if you go too fast down that lane, you're gonna flip. People have actually rushed up on my mom while driving on that going off that exit. And yeah, it's a tad bit nerve-wracking. The other thing too is where I live, Delaware is such a small state that, I mean, you can get from one end of the state to the other in about an hour. Well, that might be a little unrealistic, but it's not that long. It doesn't take you, you can get from probably Pennsylvania to Maryland in about a day, I want to say. So, saw that coming. That's another thing with driving these semis. You want a person who's really skilled, has a really good eye. Yeah, I got distracted here, I can tell. I was listening to a podcast while driving. What I was saying about you want a driver with a really good eye and a lot of experience. At the time, I didn't see the car coming, the car that I hit, and I was expecting him to stop and let me go. However, they had other ideas. So. The other thing too is I don't play this game as much as I used to. I mean, I was playing it like most of the day, almost every day, so about 8 hours. Well, maybe closer to 6, which isn't that healthy for you, I understand. But now that I'm home more often than I was when I was in school, and now that I have more free time, I don't know, I've kind of just found various other activities to fill my time. Now, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy the game. I love every new thing that comes out with it. You know, I had Oregon the first day it came out. I bought Special Transport the first day it came out. I haven't done a lot of those hauls. And the reason why is, for me, it's a little bit longer than your typical haul in this game. And I want to start doing more of your typical hauls. Keep in mind for Truck and Talk Thursday, I have about a set time of half an hour, because I feel that's about as much time as you guys really are willing to dedicate. If I'm wrong, leave a comment in the leave me a comment and say, no, I enjoy spending more time watching Truck and Talk, or I want longer truck and talks. But I don't know. So that's the reason why I only did one Special Transport. Now recently, as in yesterday, I was doing marathon little runs. So it would be like maybe, go to one store, they need this shipped to a store that's actually within the same state, within the same little city part of the state. And I would just run there, pick up another load from the same store, run to the next, and to the next, and to the next. You know, the pay wasn't great, but the work time isn't that great, isn't that much either. You're not really committing too much. You're not exercising too much. You're not overdoing it. Like this haul, I believe, is going from one part of Nevada to another part of Nevada. So, that's why it takes close to half an hour. And I do limit my time when doing Truck and Talk. There is an hour special I did, and the problem with that was I didn't really have a lot of material, but I was able to talk for a good portion of that. And then a lot of people didn't watch it because it's an hour-long YouTube video. I think after about, I want to say the average time spent watching YouTube, or not YouTube entirely, but watching a YouTube video is about 3 to 5 minutes. So that's why when you're trying to do YouTube as a business, people tell you make your video short, do something short, attention grabbing. You want to have the best thumbnail you can possibly do, something that'll grab your attention, which is cool, but I don't really want to do YouTube as a business. I've noticed that a lot of the YouTubers who use that, well, YouTubers, I hope the air quotes are strong enough, but a lot of the people who do YouTube as a career have a significant chance of burnout. Like, you know, you see them burning out more often than your casual hobbyist YouTuber, as I refer to myself. And I don't want to do that. You know, it's like, well, here's a clear-cut example. There is music that I listen to, and there were songs that I would play every day. One in particular, my senior year of high school. And, you know, about 5 years later, I hear the song, but I don't listen to it all the time because it's lost its luster to me. It's lost its appeal. It's not as good as it was. And the other reason for that is I'm not really going through the same things now that I was in high school. You know, one of the funny things is, as bad as it gets for me now, somewhere I know there's a University of Delaware student freaking out about, and at this time it's, how am I gonna, well, that's not good. But the little thing is, there is a University of Delaware student out there saying, how am I going to pass this class when I only have the final to kind of bump up my grade? Because I was that person. If you guys want to hear a story about that, I think I will post a video about it. Posting a video about that. I've got some ideas. You know, it's funny. As I stated earlier, sometimes you need a little help from your friends. Friends get your creative juices flowing, is what I've realized. Being around people who have an interest in what you do, but don't do what you do. Like, you know, Garage's Customs, his videos are mostly about custom cars, working on Hot Wheels. He doesn't play American Truck Simulator. He doesn't do American Truck Simulator videos. But he has ideas that he thinks would be good. And that's what I mean by sometimes you need a little bit of help from your friends. Where I was going with that is, sometimes it's good to take an outsider's perspective on something that you do that you find awesome, that's dear to your heart, but that other people don't do. You know? Another guy, William Witters, he's a car collector friend. If you're a senior or a veteran of the channel, you've heard that name before. Oh, okay. So here you see there's concrete analogies to concrete. But you see the concrete beams actually have little support straps going through each other. That's the tie down. That's what I was talking about. Going back to what I was saying. You know, my friend William Withers, he's been with the channel since day one, really. There's another customizer out there, Smooth Criminal Customs, great guy. Love a lot of his work. He was telling me about how he was giving Smooth Criminal ideas on what to do for future customs. So, like I said, something he does. He customizes cars, but not to the extent that Smooth Criminal does. Not to say that there's anything wrong. I mean, custom car hobby, it's a custom car hobby. You do what you like, you do what you can. But, still, letting somebody come in and see what you're doing and possibly give you ideas is always good. Alright guys, we're almost at the work site, so I'm going to stop talking, leave you with the song, and that's it.